Lynn hat Rouladen gemacht.
Okay.
Sollen wir sie essen?
Ach so, ja.
I think this is another scene that is surface level very funny, but I think it also just once again clues us into the fact that Matteo is pretty isolated and introverted. His first instinct when Lynn is like, oh, I made beef rolls. I don't know what the fuck that is, but his first instinct isn't to like get up and eat them with the rest of the flat share. His first instinct is just to be like, okay, cool. Like, the idea of getting up and sharing it with other people has to be put into his head by Hans. Their hands are like barely interlaced, like at all, hanging on by the smallest thread, the thread that holds their relationship together.
Hä?
Oh my god.
Seit wann sind wir denn da mit dabei?
This scene is pure gold. The way that they reveal how everyone is dressed.
Gesagt, dass sie dabei sind.
Ja, ja. Also ficken.
That's such a little moment, but I absolutely adore how Jonas, who looks gorgeous by the way, he looks the best out of the guys. He doesn't want to talk about like how he's hooking up with other girls when Hannah is there. I love that character development for him. He is not an asshole anymore. He was never an asshole, but he's definitely very considerate of Hannah. It's very in the background of this season, but it's really well developed. He's probably my favorite Jonas, actually.
Nee, Matteo kann morgen.
Matteo was like in the middle of saying no, and Sarah just like steamrolls over him and just takes complete control. And this just highlights even more how Matteo is the passive one in the relationship, and not even like just in private. In front of everyone, she just like butts in and talks over him. They're not even trying to hide how passive he is.
Können wir da einen Schlüssel haben? Nee, könnt ihr nicht.
And then he just gives up.
Dann frage ich ihn Mia.
He doesn't even
Die wird
try
morgen Abend
to
aber
speak
besetzt.
anymore.
Wir können's
And then Hannah has to be the the peacekeeper.
Ciao, Kakao.
I love her.
Bis später, Peter.
God.
WG-frei und so?
Oh my god,
Ja, und gar
Abdi.
nicht mal so cool, dass
This
die
once
Leute
again
Sex
shows that Matteo feels isolated. You know, they immediately start talking about
Und ich hab nicht
sex.
gecheckt, dass sie Sex.
Again. All they ever talk about is weed and sex. And they talked for the smallest moment about school, and that was like it. Also, the rest of the boys are kind of in a line or like in a little semicircle, and Matteo is away from them. He's still not integrated. Physically distanced as well as emotionally distanced. Yeah, Matteo is just immediately disinterested, and now he's completely zoned out. This iconic scene. This is once again another like comedic thing, but I think it means a lot for Matteo's character as well. It's not just comedy. So I can't get over how like bouncy David is when he's walking. And I'm pretty sure that's because this isn't reality, or at least it's kind of a heightened version of reality. And I think it's such a cool manipulation of the POV, because we know that loosely each season of Scum is from the point of view of the main character. It's not just that we're following the main character, it's that it is from their specific POV. I feel like a lot of the remakes, and even the original, don't fully use the POV to their potential. And I think this is such a cool way to use it because no one else is seeing this. Matteo is completely zoned out and watching this kind of surreal moment. In reality, David probably like glanced at him, but I don't think David was like making a whole ass eye contact. He did not twirl. Like, I do not think that happened. It's not completely clear. I mean, it could have happened, but personally, I think this is a daydream. And I think that's such a cool way to remind us that we are in Matteo's head. We are seeing the world through Matteo's eyes and no one else's. And that means that sometimes we're going to have an unreliable narrator. And I love it. I really wish other remakes leaned into the POV a little bit more like that. And I think Druck is the remake that breaks the fourth wall the most. and kind of reminds us that we're watching Scum, which is cool. Also, this song, it's really good. Again, of course it's really good. It's called Go by M83 and Mylan. The part that they use is just like the very beginning. The rest of the song doesn't sound like this, but the saxophone and the synth, it makes it feel simultaneously kind of funny and like overly dramatic, but also dreamy. At least for me, it's very easy to be in that same trance that Matteo is in because of how the music sounds. So some of the lyrics. You meet me at this station, can't get used to patience. Wish time, this time, could just be a bit shortened between us. Gotta run and make it or die. I loved, I fell, ran away. Gotta say, I'm done without you. More references to running away. They seriously are everywhere. I'm sure there's even more that I'm missing too, because I'm not looking at every single lyric, but there's more.
Ah, du liebst sie.
Ja.
I think that's an interesting point for Matteo to kind of crumple under his own body weight, where Carlos says, I love her, I'm dating her, you know, I wouldn't be dating her if I didn't love her. And I think that it cuts a little bit close to home for Matteo because he's in a relationship with Zara who he obviously doesn't love and doesn't want to have sex with. So that just kind of spurs him to suddenly be hit with the reality of his life and his situation, which is not ideal, and he just kind of crumples. Once again, just like too tired to hold up his own weight. And Jonas, once again, we don't see it fully because it cuts to the next clip, but you can see him reaching down to pick Matteo up again. Oh my god, okay. I think the way that they use this song is absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited to talk about it. I'm definitely gonna get copyright claimed for this, but I don't care. This song is it's a strange song. It's called Where's the Catch by James Blake and Andre 3000. And basically a little summary of the song, you should definitely go listen to it. It's so good. It's really cool. It's basically about getting into a relationship and everything feeling like it's going really well, and then you're just kind of in your head thinking about how everything could go wrong. Like, everything is great right now, but where's the catch? So that's basically what the song is about. And the way that they use it, specifically the way that it's timed in this clip, I think is just so good. Okay, so you can hear while Matteo is waiting at the bus stop and then getting on the bus, it's the very end of Andre 3000's rap verse, which is really good.
We tumble, we wanna leave before the apparitions take over the city. We build and discover gold. Album is making silver before you know it. Negative nickels until it's void. Aluminum foil it back to soil.
Kind of transitioning into basically the bridge of the song. The structure is kind of all over the place. It's transitioning to a different part of the song, which fully transitions once David comes into frame. So listen.
Where's the catch?
Hey. Hey. Wie geht's? Gut?
Oh my god, I love it. Literally, as soon as David comes into the frame, there's that small little moment of the song where it's just like this random angelic sounding like vocalizations. It's so beautiful, and I think it's so perfect that right when the love interest comes into frame, Matteo's head, which you can assume has been like kind of overthinking and rambling based on the rap verse that was just playing, it just slows and oh my god, there he is. It's such a good way to put into song how it feels when you see your crush. And then it gets even better because there's a third part of the song. It's kind of the beginning of the outro. So they're just like awkwardly staring at each other and they don't know what to do. They're like both so shy and don't know how to steer the conversation. And in the background, the song is repeating the words, "Everything's rose." And James Blake's voice is kind of creepy and also comforting at the same time. I love his voice so much. I love a lot of his music. Just hearing like that steady beat and the repeating lyric of "Everything's rose" while they're just like looking at each other and looking away and don't know what to do, I think that's once again just used so perfectly to symbolize how Matteo's head is kind of starting to go into overthinking mode again. He's nervous and he doesn't know exactly what to do and he's getting kind of sheepish. I just think it's perfect. And the lyric itself, "Everything's rose," you know, everything's going well, don't fuck it up, basically. That's what I get from that. I love that so much. It's worth getting copyright claimed. Go listen to that song. I really just want to like show this entire scene because it's so funny. It was also improv mostly by the actor who plays David. I cannot say his last name, but I know his first name is Lucas. So yeah, he like improv'd most of this. It's so funny. I also think it's like very sweet how David, who is portrayed as kind of like this meek, mysterious, anonymous kind of person, doesn't really want to draw attention to himself. He's basically making a fool of himself to save Matteo's ass, and I think that's really sweet. I don't know how they're not like bursting out laughing. And then they both escape together. This is also the first time that we see Matteo like fully smile, and he's going to continue to do that throughout the rest of this clip. And now Matteo kind of has the confidence to actively invite David over to his place. I think it is really important that Matteo is inviting David over to his physical space. Matteo has been so isolated and he usually just escapes places alone and doesn't want to be around people. He makes it a point to invite David into his home. Instead of being physically distant, he is completely different with David. So I think it's kind of important to point out the fact that in the original, Evan invites Isak over and then he just kind of like walks away and expects Isak to follow him, which he does. But I think it's just another way that Druck is showing the evenness between David and Matteo. They're both walking together. There isn't an imbalance there. That's such a peaceful shot. I really love that. I feel like that definitely has something to do with the fact that at this point, David's only picture on his Instagram was that collage of the bird flying. I think it probably symbolizes how David and Matteo feel like they can actually kind of be themselves and be free when they're with each other, which is really fucking sweet. Hello? And this is another nod to Matteo portraying Evan characteristics. He's a fucking nerd, David. He is a fucking nerd. And not stupid, by the way. I know there's kind of like discourse about Matteo being stupid and then people getting mad at other people for saying that Matteo is stupid. I think it's pretty obvious that he's not stupid. He just doesn't try. So I think this is a really big deal. I'm not an artist, but the fact that David lets Matteo look through his sketchbook, I feel like that's a big deal, right? And he says at the end of this little scene that, you know, it's private, but he still lets Matteo look through it. And I think that's just another clue that he's really drawn to Matteo, just as much as Matteo is drawn to David. It's reciprocated. Even though David had this goal to kind of just lay low and be his mysterious self, he can't help but feel drawn to Matteo. Because Matteo is so interested in him as well, which is really cool because we've never seen Matteo have an interest in really anything so far. So I think Matteo inviting David into his home and into his physical space and wanting to be around him is a big deal. And for David, letting Matteo be kind of in his emotional space by letting him look through his sketchbook, that is a big deal to him. So right now they're both showing like immense amounts of trust for one another. And I think it's such a natural progression of their relationship. You really buy it with them. You really buy that there is this intimacy between them. There is this trust between them already. And that might just come down to the acting because they're both so talented. But it might also be because of how they're framed. Matteo is so sweet about it too. Like, he's encouraging, and even though he doesn't seem like he knows a lot about art, he's still like trying to be nice about it and compliment it. I love this clip. I really do. Yeah, they're all private, but you show them to him. I kind of wish we'd seen that little interaction between them. Like, I want to know how that came to be. I want to know who brought it up and how that happened. Like, did David bring it up? I doubt that. I really doubt that. I think it was probably Matteo who like saw the sketchbook and was like, hey, can I see? And then David was like, sure. I don't know, maybe it's more impactful that we don't see that. It just kind of cuts to it and you're like, oh wow, they trust each other already. Another great song. I didn't realize how many great songs are in this episode. Everyone in this episode. So good. And Matteo smiles more in this clip than, oh my god, than times that we've seen him on screen. Matteo just seems like a completely different person in this montage. He's laughing and he's smiling and he's engaged. He's still leaning up against something too, which I think is interesting. Just because he's with David doesn't mean that he suddenly has like all of this energy, which I think is important. I really love that. Little side tangent, but Matteo is, I think, a lot like myself, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to his character and why he is my favorite Isaac, which is crazy considering how much I love Chris from Scum España. But he is my favorite, and a big part of that is because he is very introverted and quiet and reserved, and most likely has some kind of mental illness, some kind of neurodivergence. And I think it's cool that by the end of the season, he's not more extroverted, you know, he's not more high energy. He just seems more fulfilled. He seems like he's living his life. You know, it's not about the introvert becoming an extrovert. I hate when movies try to frame characters like that. Like, you have to grow out of your shyness and you have to grow out of your introversion. I love that Druck doesn't do that with Matteo's character. He's still, you know, tired. He's still leaning up against the wall. He still doesn't have a lot of energy. He's still quiet. He just seems more relaxed and more comfortable. They just both look so happy and carefree. And Matteo is opening up just as much as, you know, David is. He's offering this information about him that he has no idea what he wants to do with his life, and it seems to kind of weigh on him and kind of frustrate him. And he's interested. He wants to know more about David. It's just so balanced. I don't know. I just love how balanced they are. You really feel like it's not one-sided at all. I also appreciate how none of the remakes tried to do the Romeo and Juliet thing like the OG did, because they just know that they couldn't touch it. None of them have Romeo and Juliet. That was specifically for the OG. They did it so well with all of like the symbolism, and I really like that none of the remakes tried to just copy that. They all have their own thing. I also think it's such a small detail, but another difference is that Matteo doesn't pretend to know about Only Lovers Left Alive. In the original, when Evan mentions Nas, Isaac is like, yeah, I Nas? N-A, yeah, totally. I know him, them, her. Them. He has no idea, but he pretends, and I think that's so in character for Isaac. He's a lot more defensive, whereas Matteo doesn't even try to pretend that he knows the movie. He just flat out doesn't and lets it be known. Just good characterization, consistent, which I appreciate. Seems like the bare minimum to appreciate, but I do. So in the OG, Evan is the one to do this. Yeah. I'm not really talking too much about these kinds of parallels because I don't think they mean that much. Like the fact that Matteo is the one to offer all of the ingredients, I don't think that really means anything. Maybe it does, but I'd rather talk about other parallels. That's so fucking gross, dude. Like, the things you do for your gremlin crush, right? Oh my god. Maybe I'm just a really picky eater, but don't lie. Don't lie to him. You don't have to lie to him. He already likes you. You don't have to pretend to like his cooking. It's okay. Oh, I love that look. That look. He's so conflicted. You can see the longing in his face. He's just like, oh, fuck. Like, I really just want to stay here. This is the most me I've felt, and I don't want this to be ruined. I don't know. Michelangelo is so talented. He really is. He really brings Matteo to life so well. I remember not loving him in the beginning too, which is crazy. I honestly think a lot of people thought the same thing. I was looking at a bunch of Tumblr posts about Michelangelo, and a lot of people were kind of saying how they didn't really vibe with Matteo at first, but once season 3 came around and they really saw how talented Michelangelo is, they were all like, oh, got it, okay, wow, he's my favorite now. And that's exactly how I felt too. And this look just has so much in it. It has so many layers. There's this longing, and there's also like this, he doesn't want to give up. In previous clips in this episode, he was so quick to give up. Like, immediately when he saw David hug Leonie, he was like, well, fuck. Like, I guess I'll just go fuck Sarah. Whatever. He was so quick to just throw in the towel. But now that he's with David and he's spent more time with him and he's laughed and he's smiled and he's had a great time, he doesn't want to give up. For the first time, he's actively fighting for this. He's gotten a taste of what it could feel like to be around David and to be himself around someone, and he doesn't want to let go of it. Which I think it also makes sense there that his lie is so shitty. Like, he doesn't even really think about it. He doesn't think to check with Jonas or to see where Jonas is before lying about being with him. He's desperate to just get Sarah away and to hold on to this moment. And he looks so guilty afterwards. Oof. He's not emotionless. He's not a monster. He's just trapped. Very in his head right there. You can see that he's like just mulling over everything he just said to Sarah. So much so that he doesn't even hear what David says to him. And then he's inviting David even further into his home. And this is where David kind of backs off a little bit. He's kind of like, oh, wait, this is real. Oh God. This is so much warmer than the only other clip we've seen of Matteo in this bathroom, which was the first clip where everything was like blue tinted, I'm pretty sure. And now it's a lot warmer. His jumper is warmer, the light seems warmer. He actually cares about his appearance for once. Yeah. If you're gonna lie, at least, come on, have a good lie. And once again, for like the 3rd or 4th time, David is the one who escapes.
David?
Alright, I think that's all I have to say for this episode. I hope I didn't ramble so much. I always hope that I don't ramble and then I end up rambling anyway. But hopefully I won't lose my footage. That's what I should hope. God, I hope. Editing Soph, please tell me. Did I lose my footage? Did I have a mental breakdown? Let me know. Tell me. Did you struggle? That's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back as soon as I can to talk about episode 3.